He knows his sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, y'all. 3 fighters that Canelo Alvarez is ducking like the plague. Let me say it again. 3 fighters that Canelo Alvarez is truly ducking like the plague. These fighters give him the hangover and the lingering effects of Floyd Money Mayweather. The first one is JERMALL CHARLO. And the reason why is because JERMALL CHARLO reminds him from a Floyd Mayweather standpoint of the athleticism and the explosion. Let me say it again. The athleticism and the explosion. JERMALL CHARLO is athletic and explosive as you know what. The guy can sit here and change directions, velocities, and accelerations on a punch on a drop of a dime. Let me say it again. He could change accelerations, velocity on a punch on the drop of a dime. Just as J-Rock. J-Rock, the way that he was able to be beaten, when Jason Rosario beat him, he used the JERMALL CHARLO blueprint. This is why I keep telling you guys, JERMALL CHARLO, although he's not an elite fighter, he's a very, very good fighter. Basically along the molds of an Erislandy Lara. That's the type of beatdown that a Canelo Alvarez could get, but in more brutal fashion. Because JERMALL CHARLO has stamina for days, he can tire out Canelo Alvarez. He's proven this. He's gone 12 rounds in fights many of times. He's actually finished fights and looked like he can go another 6 to 8 more rounds. Also, JERMALL CHARLO gets stronger as the fight goes on. The other thing that makes JERMALL CHARLO dangerous is the fact that his power translates from one weight class to the next, meaning he's still devastating. He has the power to not only hit Canelo and make Canelo go, he has the power to drop him. Let me say it again. Not only does he make Canelo go, he actually has the power to drop him. This is why Canelo Alvarez don't want to deal with JERMALL CHARLO. The height differential, the size differential, the imposing factor differential, 6'1" to 5'9". He doesn't want to deal with those problems. Plus, JERMALL CHARLO has a good base and a good foundation. It's not to the Errol the True Spence level, but it's very, very, very damn good. And his base and foundation is of a true alpha vernacular, meaning he doesn't let you move him away from the centerline mass. So when he goes in those trades with toe-to-toes with Canelo Alvarez, he can handle the punishment, but he can dish out punishment on his end. This is why Canelo Alvarez doesn't want to fight him, because he understands that these are the underlying things that he would have to deal with. This is why Eddie Reynoso and Canelo Alvarez alluded back on November 21st last year that JERMALL CHARLO is a great fighter and fighting him would be great for boxing. They're trying to save him on the very last fight of the 11-fight contract, if they were to fight him. That's if Canelo Alvarez fights him. I don't know if he's going to play the WBC or the French fry tag for the rest of his natural born life boxing career. But when he's over the hill, then they can give an excuse to say, well, this is why he lost to JERMALL CHARLO, because he was too old and he was over the hill. He was having left knee issues, blah, 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 blah. And his cult-like followers are going to, because of their lack of accountability, they're going to accept that for what it is. It is what it is. Now let's go to Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Again, I don't know why a grown-ass man call himself Boo Boo, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to get on him about that. I'm here to talk about his boxing ability. Demetrius Andrade is awkward, and he's extremely awkward, but he's so skillful from a boxing standpoint. This man can box you in so many different ways. He prepped Sean Porter for Errol the True Spence. This is why we got the best version of Sean Porter. Because Demetrius Andrade has whooped up everybody, including Sean Porter, in the amateurs. Let me say it again. Demetrius Andrade has whooped up everybody, including Sean Porter in the amateurs. Well, he didn't whoop up Errol Spence. They didn't fight in the amateurs. But you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Demetrius Andrade can fight. He's seen all kinds of different styles. And he can switch up based on the style that he's facing. This is very dangerous because this is a fighter that thinks. He's a thinker's man boxer. Let me say it again. He's a thinker's man boxer. This is why you saw Oscar De La Hoya came out and said that fight would be boring, because it would be what Erislandy Lara did to Canelo Alvarez times 100. Let me say it again. It would be what Erislandy Lara did to Canelo times 100, because Demetrius Andrade wouldn't be running the whole time. He would actually be running and trading at the same time. He doesn't have the power to drop you, so he wouldn't drop Canelo Alvarez, but he will box Canelo Alvarez's ears off and he will punish him. Pretty much like what an Andre Ward does to his opponents. Andre Ward is not the strongest, right? Or Floyd Mayweather is not the strongest. And this is how he copies, and he's kind of giving you that Floyd Mayweather-esque. But they have enough power to sting you. Here's the thing, Demetrius Andrade is stinging you at a higher level than a Floyd Mayweather because he's a naturally bigger guy. So his power can sting. And if he hits enough, maybe by the 12th round, he could drop a Canelo Alvarez. But I don't expect a droppage in that fight. I expect a boxing his ears off in a boxing clinic. This is what Demetrius Andrade brings to the table. And this is why Canelo Alvarez doesn't want to fight him. Plus, the height and the size differential. And Demetrius Andrade changes the velocity on his jab. If you watch enough film study on Demetrius Andrade, his jab variations is sick. It's up there with the best of them. I've seen this man throw 9 or 10 variation of jabs in each and every single one of his fights. As a matter of fact, when he's bullshitting and being lazy in a fight, he just uses his jab just to keep him at bay. Because he knows the opponent's not on his level, so he don't have to do much. He just basically boxes the opponent off. This is what Canelo Alvarez doesn't want to face, because it gives him a hangover, a Mayweather hangover, of a guy that can sit there and box you. And then what I also like about Demetrius Andrade, he throws his jab with your jab. Y'all didn't catch that. That was so deep and profound. Let me rewind that, because that needs to marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. Hear me? Hear me? Well, as a matter of fact, in Black Mamba edition mentality, hear me and hear me. Well, he throws his jab with your jab. That means every time you throw a jab's coming right back at you. What does that remind you of? Floyd Mayweather. This is what he was doing to Canelo. Every time Canelo was throwing a jab, he was hitting his ass with a counter jab. Oof. That's why Canelo was all fucked up in the game. This is what Demetrius Andrade brings to the table. See, I'm giving you guys the blueprint, dog. He knows the sport has his thumb in the needle in the damn situation. I'm the Merlin when it comes to boxing, meaning the greatest wizard of all damn time. Now, Errol the True Spence. This is what Errol the True Spence brings to the table, because Errol the True Spence is the best of all three. Errol the True Spence brings the power of JERMALL CHARLO. He brings the boxing ability of a Demetrius Andrade. And then on top of that, he has a stamina like none of these guys have. Errol the True Spence is an energizer bunny. He keeps going and going and going. Let me say it again. He keeps going and going and going. Canelo Alvarez took Clint Bluterall. There's a reason why he took that. He took that because he has stamina and endurance issues. Bernard Hopkins got on his ass about that. The thing with Canelo Alvarez is, and see, if you notice, the WBC has given him a tolerable rate. They approve this. Anyways, that's another cheating variation. I'll talk about that in another video, and I'll break that down. But they've approved an acceptable level of him being able to have Clint Bluterall, meaning so that he can be able to carry himself for 12 rounds. Because naturally, by his own Mexican physiology, because the Mexican physiology is not built for 12 rounds. So y'all don't know that. The come forward style is a bullshit style. It's not meant to go 12 rounds. It's meant to go 6 to 7. Notice most Mexican fighters that fight in this style, they fade after 6 or 7 rounds. I know what I'm talking about, dog. That's why you see Canelo Alvarez try to adopt a poor man or homeless rendition of a Floyd Mayweather style, because he understood that the Mexican come forward style burns you out. It burns you out. It's too much energy that's exorbitant. Plus, the Mexican physiology is not built to go 12 rounds. But that's another topic, another time, another here and there. They're just not built like black slickster fighters. It is what it is. We're built for endurance. We spar about 18 rounds. That's just how we roll. We have the greatest sparring wars. We're the greatest boxers on the freaking planet. It is what it is. Remember, the African physiology is the greatest on the planet. But that's neither here nor there. Errol the True Spence is an energizer bunny. He keeps going and going and going. So his level of punishment, upstairs and downstairs, the combination of that assortment, that accumulation of damage will take a toll on Canelo Alvarez. You guys saw when Danny Jacobs went into the orthodox stance away from that bullshit southpaw, when he was on that paid to lose, acting like he couldn't fight. He touched up Canelo Alvarez, in so much so you could tell Canelo was hurt. You could tell when a fighter's hurt because they start laughing. Okay. Errol the True Spence will give Canelo Alvarez that continuously. He would be parrying Canelo Alvarez's punches, blocking his punches, making Canelo Alvarez look slow, like the way Floyd Mayweather do, because Errol the True Spence is faster than him and quicker than him. Errol the True Spence will beat him to the damn punch, and Errol the True Spence will make sure that he does not touch any dangerous punches that Canelo's throwing at him. Plus, Errol the True Spence is the best body snatcher 2.0 in the game. Let me say it again. He's the best body snatcher 2.0 outside of Marvin Hagler and the old Terry Norris. Y'all got to do your homework on those guys. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's why Terry Norris gave his nod of approval of Errol the True Spence. These guys right here, when you look at what they bring to the table, Canelo Alvarez will never fight these guys, because these guys right here will embarrass him. They will bring him to a level to where the Mexican community fan base will completely exonerate themselves from Canelo Alvarez. Let me say it again. They will bring these guys to a level where Canelo Alvarez will completely be exonerated by the Mexican community fan base because he's on strike 2. Strike 3 is another black elite fighter expose him. Remember, he got exposed by Floyd Mayweather, he got exposed by ERROL SPENCE, and he had a close decision against Austin Trout. But we don't count that. We count the Mayweather and the ERROL SPENCE. Imagine if another one does that to him. The Mexican community fan base will throw him away, like spit him out like freaking hot garbage. Because they don't even believe in Canelo Alvarez. I already proved that in the last video. Now that's the cold-hearted and unadulterated cutthroat truth teller fashion. Remember, we ushered out of the Mayweather era, and like Richard Schaefer said, we in the Spence era. Let me say it again. We ushered out of the Mayweather era, and now we're into the Spence era. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out.